Do you ever feel overwhelmed managing all the things? Do you wish you had a magic wand that you could magically wave to get everything done in record time? Well, if that's the case, you're in the right place because today I'm going to share 3 simple systems to help you maximize your time. If you want the show notes, then drop the word time in the comments and I will send them your way. Hi, I'm Joyce Layman, and I show coaches how to attract and connect with your ideal clients online using simple social systems so you can generate more leads and make a bigger impact without getting overwhelmed in the process. Now, first step, your very first system, which is key because guess what? Content, you're having to create it all the time, or at least you should be creating it all the time if you want to have your online presence. If you want to shine, create that connection with your target audience. So the first thing I want to talk about is my content repurposing system. Now, this is included in my content to connection system because it's all in the same thing. But I have people ask me all the time, how do you take one piece of content and make repurposing a breeze? Well, first off, my secret is I use AI to help me. I admit I used to hate writing blogs. The thought of writing a video script, I would creatively avoid it, so then I wouldn't do it. So what happened is when I started using AI well over a year ago, before it became the thing, then that process helped me turn one piece of content, which for me, I create a video script every week. For you, it may be a video script. You could do this with a blog, but it's that one piece of meaty content that you turn into everything else. So you decide where you're going to start. For me, I want to give you the example of everything that I do and show you behind the curtain. So I take one video script. That same video script, I repurpose it ever so slightly and turn it into show notes, which becomes a blog on my website. So now Google's happy because if you've been paying attention, SEO is an absolute must. And how do you make that happen on your website? You add blog content. As a result of being consistent with my weekly live videos, my online visibility has skyrocketed. I have more visitors going to my website where they get juicier content, right? They get that longer form content because what you have to remember is not all of your followers want to learn the same way. So if all you're doing is posting content out on Instagram, short form content, carousel posts, maybe an occasional reel, that's great. However, you're missing everybody else that may be consuming either on a different platform or they want more of you. Now, I will also tell you that I have been rethinking my content strategy because for me, and this is where, even though I can give you a content repurposing system, you still have to think about what works for you. You've got to have a content strategy behind this. This isn't about saying, okay, I'm going to post random content and then do all the things with it. You still have to know who your ideal client is, that target market, that bigger target market of where they're spending time. And then what are their pains? What are their goals? What kind of content are they going to gravitate to? And then be very strategic with what you're creating. If you're brand new, you don't want to go all in trying to be on every single platform all the time because you will burn yourself out and you'll stop doing everything. I promise with the system, it's super easy to do because you're only focusing on creating one piece of content a week. And when you do it with AI, you can do this entire process literally in less than an hour a week, less than an hour a week. But that goes back to know your client, right? You've got to know your framework of your offers. And then, of course, there's content pillars that come into play. By the way, I have a free resource for that if you want it. So going back to, you create this one juicier piece of content. With the help of AI and the correct prompts, you can very easily take that and turn it into show notes. You can turn it into social media posts. You can turn it into carousel posts. You can turn it into quotes. You could turn it into short form content. If you ever wanted to launch a podcast, you can rework it and turn it into a podcast. One piece of content becomes all these pieces of content. AI is the way to do that in a very easy process, and in your tone of voice. Because all too often I hear pushback of, I'm not going to use AI because it's not going to be in my tone of voice. Yes, it is, if you tell it what your tone of voice is, who your target audience is, and give them enough detail about the client avatar. So once you know, here's the content, I'm going to do this one piece and it gets turned into these things, then the easiest way, simple, and both of these are free, you can track everything on a Google spreadsheet. Because what happens is, if you never track anything that you're creating, then guess what? You're going to go back, you're going to have to search your phone, you're going to have to figure out, what did I post, when did I post, how do I post it? So when you have everything either in a Google Drive spreadsheet, always do this online, never do it on your desktop, but have it in a spreadsheet or Airtable. It's kind of like a Google Drive spreadsheet, only there's so many more features. And by the way, you can get an account for free. Then those are two different ways that you can track your system. You can go in and say, this is the piece of content. Here is the framework area that it falls under. So as an example for me, mine is brand revenue. That's all about your offers, marketing, and systems. So I know as I'm going in that I am creating content that falls into those four main areas for my client, versus getting really heavy over maybe into systems, or I'm only talking about branding. In fact, this was an aha that I had last summer. It's like, oh my God, I haven't been filling in the other pieces, which having that spreadsheet and adding that extra column to it to know which area of the framework that I was talking about, then it made sense. So as I said, you can use Airtable's easy. Some people love Trello boards as a way to track what you create, but that's how you turn one piece of content into a complete gold mine of everything else that you need. So system number one is done. Create your content, you're ready to go. Okay, now that you've got your content game going, we need to talk about the second system. This is your lead management system. This is how you're going to connect with potential clients. If you're not tracking conversations, and when I used to work with business developers full-time over in my corporate world before 2020, I know folks, their entire business was purely business development. They didn't do any of the back-end deliverables, and they still weren't tracking the connections. It's no different if you've ever gone to an online networking event and you show up and you don't reach out to that person and connect with them on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever they're spending time, or you go to that in-person networking event, you connect with somebody who could be either a perfect client for you, a power partner for you, or maybe a resource partner for you, and you don't follow up and get their information. I've seen this happen far too many times. So part of this is, if you're like me, you can meet people anywhere and everywhere. So it's having that system to help you track those connections so you can continue to nurture and see where it's going to go. By the way, I met my 4 best friends at business networking events. And who would have thought, right? I was there for business, but that's where I met friends. I have met great business connections while, my cars are my hobby, while at a car event, philanthropic event, charity event. So you never know where you're going to meet people. And I will tell you, in today's world, virtual business cards, what I love is you can always just go connect with somebody on their social platform, and that's what is the first easy connection. But then you have to have a way to send a message and find out, what were those follow-up steps that you said that you were going to do? Was there a connection you were going to introduce them to? That's why it's super important that you have that system in place. Now, to track that, as I said, you can have a system. I'm all about tracking. A couple of things. Go back to, you can use a very simple Google spreadsheet. If you've never been tracking your connections before, that's the direction I would suggest you get started. However, this can always become extremely complicated if you're not following up as quickly as you should. As an example, a client of mine has a yoga for osteoporosis business. She has individuals coming into her private Facebook group, 10 to 20 a week. So part of the process, because she's been manually doing this, is she has to take that data, that the answers to the questions that people fell in when they come into her group, it goes onto an Excel spreadsheet, then it goes into her CRM. So I use GroupTrack CRM. With me, all I have to do is click a button, it grabs that information and puts them automatically into my CRM. All of these links I will have listed in the show notes. So if you're wondering about any of these platforms, then I will go ahead and use those. So, but that's where having that spreadsheet is a great thing that you can use. And then whether it's Airtable, whether it's an actual CRM, like GroupTrack is a social CRM, or ConvertKit is another one of my favorite CRM tools. The reason I love it so much is you can actually build out landing pages, which if you're going to have offers, you're going to have lead magnets, paid offers, whatever that is, then you can actually get people to subscribe. Maybe it's to a newsletter, a freebie that you have, and then you can track them in there. So you know where you met them, how you met them, what their goals are, how are you helping each other, if it's a power partner, if it's a resource partner, how you can refer them, but you can get all of that information and keep it within your CRM. And trust me, a little organization goes a long way. So you never have to wonder, who did I meet? How did I meet him? Where did the conversation go? What was the follow-up? And what was I supposed to do next? Because staying organized is so super important. Okay, so now that we've covered content and leads, your third system is planning. So you can go out and hit YouTube, you can attend virtual summits, do all the freebie things, but yet until you're actually implementing and putting these things into action, then you're not going to be growing your business. And that's where a planning system can be so beneficial to you. So the easy way to do this is you want to have yearly goals, but I always think 90-day increments. Your brain works well in 90-day increments. You back it up into a month at a time, then you go a week at a time, and then you go a day at a time. So you have your vision, then you have your 3-month goals, and you reverse engineer what you're going to do. Say, for example, you have a free offer that you're wanting to promote, then that's not really going to take time. You can create it, create the landing page, and start sending that out. It's different, say you have a paid offer, then that's when you're going to have to plan. You're going to have to use your planning system and reverse engineer that goal. Know that if you have a paid offer, you've got to have the content creation time. How much time is it going to take for you to actually create what it is you're selling? But more importantly, say you want to use a free workshop to market it, then you need to build that time into your planning system so it can actually reverse engineer back. So the thing that I suggest with my clients is if you've got a free workshop, then you need to plan a good 4 weeks in advance as far as getting, how are you going to take registrations for it? Are you doing it strictly through DMs? Have you created a landing page that you're sending people to? You can't just say, hey, I'm going to have a free workshop next week unless you have a massive list that you're going to get enough people to register in advance. So that's why that planning system is so important. So within that, you know, you've got to have about 4 weeks. You get all the pieces built out, but that's where knowing what you need to do for the month, what you need to do, those really priority action steps that you need to be taking for that week, as well as each day. So that way, as you're going through and checking off things, then you don't let something fall through the cracks. And all too often we try to, in fact, I've been very guilty of this. We write all these things down, you know, on a notepad that we want to accomplish, but we don't sit back long enough to think, how much time is it going to take? And more importantly, what order do these need to be done in first? So don't set yourself up for failure by overloading your to-do list. You want to be realistic, especially if you haven't done something before. And if technology is involved, I always say you want to plan probably double the amount of time that you think you need to make that happen. So that's where your planning system is going to come into play. So the biggest thing is have somewhere where it's documented. So right now, The summer automated bundle is live. It's live through the end of April. And what I've done as a gift for that is I've taken my drive planning system, which is a $37 offer that I typically sell, and it's part of the summer automated bundle for free. Well, you may ask Joyce, well, it's April. Why are you talking about summer? Because we want to give you 90 days to make sure that all the amazing resources in that bundle get you positioned so you can maximize your time in the summer and still make sales in that. You know, if you've got kids that are out of school, vacation that you might be taking, whatever else is going on, then you want to make sure that you've planned for that. So as I said, that's why my drive planning system is free right now in the summer automated bundle. So if you want that, be sure to comment drive in the chat, and I will make sure and get you the link so you can get it, because at the end of April, then you're not going to be able to access it anymore. So I would love to know if you're ready to take these systems and become a productivity powerhouse. The biggest thing, and here's some questions you need to ask, is where are you working too hard? It's question number one. Where are you working too hard? Where are you spending hours that you could be spending time doing things that you love? So where you're repeating processes, it's like you get stuck, you're having to dig to find things. So where are you spending hours when instead you could be spending time doing things that you love? Number three, where are you afraid to invest in your business? So I mentioned ConvertKit earlier as my resource, my go-to as a great CRM and landing page. It's a very minimal investment a month, but once you get organized in there, it is so worth it in your business. So would you rather be floundering and not be able to attract people or send out regular emails? The same thing with AI at the very beginning. I mentioned in your content repurposing system, I use AI. I have the paid version of ChatGPT. Yes, there are two versions of ChatGPT, free and paid. The difference is if you have free, you don't get the latest version. So the AI assistant can't access everything that it needs to on the internet. And secondly, if they get overloaded, you get locked out. So if you've got that content type blocked, you don't get access to it. So that's when I'm asking you, where are you afraid to invest in your business? If you're not willing to invest, I always say Canva Pro, it's $13 a month. ConvertKit's $29 a month. You got ChatGPT paid $20 a month. If you're not willing to invest that money a month, which is very minimal, then it's going to be hard to maximize your time. And you're going to be wondering, even if you're brand new, investing $60 a month in your business with those three tools is more than worth it. And by the way, I didn't even mention Metricool. So back up in content repurposing, Metricool is my favorite content repurposing and scheduling platform, and you can get a free version of it. I'm all about if you can get the best tools and resources, start off free, but you've got to get the right things. So, and then number four, that question to ask is, where do you find yourself with Squirrel System? So if you're having to go through emails or go through documents because you're not organized or you don't know what you posted last, or you've got a workshop coming up and you're like, I don't know, what I posted, where are the email series? Then that's where systems can help you get very organized and save you time. Yes, it does take time initially to get them set up, but the time that you save in the long run is so well worth it. So with that, I always do a short recap. Speaking of content repurposing, here's a little hint. I take my longer YouTube video. I told you I was showing you behind the scenes. So I take this longer YouTube video. I also do a recap at the end of each one. Then I use my favorite tool, Descript, and all I have to do is highlight the text that's in there, and it literally separates the video out into two videos. Now, I realize I've mentioned a lot of platforms in this, but if you're wondering, like I said, content repurposing, there are so many amazing tools. In fact, Repurpose.io is another one of my favorite repurposing tools. Why? It literally takes all of my Instagram reels that I have created, it pulls them into Repurpose. I can now send them into YouTube Shorts. I can send them into TikTok. I can post them on Pinterest. I can tell that platform exactly what I want to do with that content. And I need to do an entire training on that. But as I said, I'm going to list all of my resources in the show notes. So if you want the show notes, then make sure that you put time in the show notes. And then I also saw somebody wanted the drive planning system details. So yes, I will make sure and send them your way. Okay, so with that, I'm going to do my quick recap. If you're an online coach looking to streamline your processes and save time so you can focus on income producing activities, then I'm going to share 3 simple systems that are going to save your sanity. So my very first system is content repurposing. This is how you can take one piece of content each week and turn it into multiple things, which makes it so easy to do. You actually get your time back. You don't have to wonder what to post, when to post. And the really important thing with this, your audience has different learning styles, and not everybody's going to want to read a full blog or sit through a 10-minute, 20-minute live. So that way, when you have these smaller pieces of content that you're dripping out, it makes it easier for somebody to say, yeah, I want the full enchilada. Give me that. So the thing to remember with a content repurposing system is a couple of things. Once you know what your strategy is, you have to know what your content strategy is. That's who is your client? What are their pain points? What are their goals? What platforms are they spending time on? Where are you going to be? How often you're going to post? You need to know that as you use this. Then my favorite tool, AI, and ChatGPT, Jasper AI, amazing tools to use. But you can easily take that one piece of content, could be a blog, could be a video, and then you simply turn it with the right prompts into social media posts. It can be carousel posts. It can be quote cards. It can also be short form video. You've got show notes on your website if you want it. You've got a regular blog. Heck, you can even turn it into a podcast. The biggest thing is you need to track what you're creating. You can do this either using a Google spreadsheet, or you can do it with a platform like Airtable or Trello. So with that, make content repurposing a breeze. And also you take the excuses away from, I don't know what to create and it's too hard to. It's not when you have a content repurposing system. All right, system number 2, a lead generation system. You can be posting content all day long, but unless you're actually talking to people, then you're not going to get the sales that you want. That's where a lead generation system is so important. Doesn't matter if you're building your business online or building your business in person, you have to have a way that you are tracking the people that you're having conversations with. They could be power partners, they could be potential clients, and they could be referral partners. So that's where knowing where you met them, what the next steps are, what the conversation that you had. My favorite social CRM is Group Track, but then I also have my CRM, which is an FG Funnels, but it's also a very robust technology platform. If you want to keep it simple, go ConvertKit. And that way you've got a landing page, you've got your email series, and you also have a way to tag and track the conversations that you're having online so you can turn a connection into a client. All right, system number 3, planning system. This is where you can say you want to do all the things and you can have all the goals in your head, but until you get it down on paper, you're actually tracking what you need to do, when you need to do it, and most importantly, the order you need to do it in. I guarantee things will most likely fall through the cracks and you're going to get to the end of the month and you're going to wonder, how did I not hit my goals? It's because you're not planning. Your brain, we are teleological by nature, which means we're goal-oriented creatures. So if you're not setting goals and planning, it's going to be like Groundhog Day all over again. The easiest way as you're thinking through your system is think about your year-end vision, that yearly vision that you have. Back it up into a 90-day plan. Then you're going to look at monthly goals. You're going to look at weekly priorities with your action steps. And then your daily activities. What are the things that you need to be doing every single day that build up to everything else? Another thing that comes into play with planning is, say you've got a workshop that's driving to a paid offer, then you want to be able to reverse engineer what happens first, second, after that. So that way, as I said, things don't fall through the cracks. I've got my Drive planning system. You can use a Google spreadsheet. There's so many different ways to do this, but you've got to figure out what works for you. The most important thing, stop talking about it, and you need to do it. My favorite hack is the Pomodoro method. Set your clock, set your phone, get an egg timer for 25 minutes, turn all notifications off, and get fully focused for 25 minutes. You will be amazed at what you can accomplish in that time when you get focused. All right, so these are my top 3 systems. I would love to know in the comments which one you're going to utilize first. Now, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe for more content just like this to help you grow your brand and business online. I will see you next time.